Today I will be explaining, briefly, what the moon and sun alignment actually means in Warframe, and what it means in relation to your character. Moon and sun is not good and evil. This much has been confirmed by Digital Extreme's Steve Sinclair on a Twitter Q&A, which I will link below. He stated that the moon and sun system is like the yin and yang philosophy, but what does that actually mean for us in relation to our characters in-game? I will show that the alignment system, I believe, represents the following in regards to our worldview and decision making. The sun is representative of passion and is active. Eclipse is a balance between moon and sun. It is emotions which are tempered by logic. Finally, moon is logic which is detached from emotion and is a reactive passive. Equinox is a warframe which epitomizes this balance. The day form is the aggressive form, whereas the night is the passive and defensive form. Yin and yang is a philosophy of duality, two complementary forces that form part of an indivisible whole, one active and one reactive, the night and day forms of Equinox. Likewise, the equilibrium between moon and sun alignment is a balance between emotion and logic. Active passion is represented by sun, and the opposite and balancing force of the moon is a reactive detached pragmatism. The neutral eclipse, which exists between them as a balance, represents emotion, which is balanced by the logic part of our decision making, i.e. one accepts and recognises their emotions, but at the same time does not let passion override logic, or logic disregard emotion. I also take some deeper notions from each, in regards to the worldview of each Tenno. The Sun Tenno is wholly involved in each personal struggle. They truly care about every enemy or every ally and every moment. The Moon, conversely, detaches themselves from getting bogged down with the details of each individual conflict, instead distancing himself from the emotions at the moment and looking at the greater picture. These concepts of balance are far more nuanced than good and evil, and in my opinion are far more interesting than the classic rogue versus squeaky clean hero that we usually see in games. To further understand the choices that you are making in these quests, and what alignment you want to choose and what you feel is best for your character, let's look more at this concept, as well as the makeup of the brain. I've left a link to a study below, and I won't comment on the veracity of any of the science involved, but some studies of the brain believe that the decision-making process in our brain is often a combination of our emotions and logic, one sometimes overriding the other. This balance, or lack thereof, is exactly the type of decision-making that is represented by the moon and sun alignment system, with Eclipse representing a Tenno who takes a balanced view of the world based on his own personal emotions and on logic, empathy and detachment, much like the duality of yin and yang. A moon Tenno is one who chooses logic and pragmatism over the emotions, completely removing them from the decision-making process. In this case, he may be seen as cold or detached, and i.e. evil. A sun Tenno, conversely, is one who's passionate, sometimes letting his emotions override any cold logic, leading them to be both empathetic, but also times cruel. This can be seen again in Equinox's aggressive day and sun form. Let's now look at the decisions that we make in the game. In the Sacrifice quest, the Sun Tenno wants Umbra to use his memory of his son being murdered by himself to fuel his hatred as power. His passion, because he emphasises with the pain of Umbra. The Moon Tenno wants his Warframe to dispose of the past, becoming empty, feeling that the past and the associated feelings are useless, and they should not be used to dictate your actions now, when what is done is done. The neutral finds balance between these two approaches. He accepts the past and acknowledges them, but we are moving on, and we're moving into the future. When we defeat Ballas, the Sun Tenno shows his passion can actually make them the cruel one, as his hatred and need for vengeance makes him taunt Ballas, calling him a maggot. Whereas the Moon Tenno looks beyond this personal rivalry and looks to the bigger picture, commenting on the cyclical nature of past events. In this moment, the Sun Tenno is so involved with the heat and emotions of this moment that he concerns himself so much with Umbra's personal past. The Moon Tenno does not. Instead, he looks at the wider picture, detaching himself from the heat of the moment and any joy or hate he may feel. The Sun Tenno also kills Ballas because of vengeance, for himself and for Umbra. The Moon killed him because it was the logical method of disrupting a destructive cycle. The Eclipse Tenno sees this as inevitable, that there was no course of action either way, whatever his motivations, that this clash would happen whether or not we wanted it. I think that the decision that best illustrates the alignment systems is the Kuva decision at the end of War Within. Teshin tells us that this decision will define us more than anything. The Kuva is a weapon or a device of our old enemies, the Orokin. It is what the repugnant queens used. The Sun Tenno lets this disgust and hatred for their enemy override their decision, and they dispose of the Kuva. Emotionally, he does not want to be like them, does not want to be hypocritical, and become the very thing he is fighting. However, conversely, he has also possibly got rid of a very useful weapon. Likewise, the Moon Tenno drinks the Kuva. He disregards the human aspects of this decision. He disregards the fact that he may be seen as a hypocrite for using the weapon of his enemy. Such emotional factors do not concern the Moon Tenno, and pragmatically, they see this as a potential advantage, and therefore they must drink it logically. Again, the Eclipse Tenno makes a decision based on not just how they feel, but also taking logic into account. Like the Sun Tenno, they are wary of becoming the thing they are fighting, the very thing they are setting out to destroy. But logically, they recognise the fact that there may be potential value they are not aware of in regards to the Kuva. Therefore, they neither drink nor destroy it, and keeps it just in case it becomes useful in the future. To surmise what we learn from this scene, the Sun is the active passion, the one that looks at the moment and the emotions involved. Eclipse is the passion which is then balanced out by that logic. And then the Moon is the logic which is detached from emotion, and it is reactive to the situation. Both the Sun and the Moon have the potential to be seen as bad. The Sun can let hatred make them cruel, and conversely the Moon's way of detaching emotion from every situation may make them seem cold and unsympathetic. Either way, I think you'll agree that the subtleties of this balance and this alignment system makes for a far more interesting and deep character progression than the traditional good or bad, given they are much more realistic attributes that we can all relate to, and we all have a balance between these to some degree. Thanks guys for joining me for that video. I hope that maybe clears up a little bit of what the alignment system's about. There maybe was a little bit more I could have gone into, but I feel like this will give you a good overview of what it's trying to get across in the game, or at least what I believe it's trying to get across in the game, and help you with your decisions. If you like this video, please give me a like and a subscribe, as we'll bring you more content soon. Thank you.